Tarawara's system release presents 10 artists from Aotearoa, New Zealand, Australia and Mexico who reach into the chaos of global precarity to create new systems of order across a wide range of media.
This year's Tarawara International is an exhibition which responds to recent global conditions that we've all experienced. For this exhibition, I wanted to think about system release rather than system collapse. So rather than dwelling on or diagnosing what's wrong with the world, I wanted to look underneath this precarious pact that has held us together for the past 70 years and see other systems of order that we may not have heard, other ways of thinking and ways of being that might help form future templates that we might build into a new way of being in the future. Jose Davila is an extraordinary artist from Guadalajara in Mexico. In this work entitled Joint Effort, we've assembled a series of objects that are both man-made and naturally occurring. And these objects are held together in a precarious balance by one strap. The work really illustrates Newtonian physics and the concept of action and reaction and how it is always these equal forces coming together in perfect equilibrium that creates balance and harmony. So Marco Fucinato is one of Australia's leading artists. This selection of works that we've got behind us, these 4 silk screens, come from a series that he created as part of his Venice Biennial exhibition from 2022.
This work actually happened as a result of another form of research or another question I was asking. The question I was asking was, what does the world weigh after all we have built and destroyed? Does it weigh more? Does it weigh less? Does it weigh the same?
I hope my work helps remind people that we're part of much bigger dynamic systems than we can actually see or recognise in our daily life. The work entangles the living, the non-living, the physical and the non-physical, and the tangible and spiritual realms.
I've been focusing on this idea of finding new images of the Anthropocene and Capitalocene, thinking about the idea of the co-becoming with nature, indeterminacy, queering, and finding agency within the midst of this tech oligarchy-controlled world that we're kind of living in.
Within my practice, I'm interested in expanding timescales between the Big Bang and today and filling in gaps in our collective knowledge with these new stories and imagined scenarios that make up bodies of work. And I realised these works primarily in the medium of sculpture.
Oysters are this incredible species that teaches us resilience, and I guess, because they're marine ecosystem engineers, they literally can teach us new ways to shape and form the way we approach things. I'm very inspired by them.
System release is about global systems collapsing, and I think in Te Ao Māori, in our world, we survived a genocide, we survived the erasure of our language, of our cultural traditions, of our material culture. The apocalypse has already happened to us.
The world is an overheated place, and I don't just mean climatically, politically. And in a sense, I'm interested in what it might be like for a museum to somehow let the world in. And, and this kind of presence of heat in this building is something that I've been thinking about.
One of the world's most enduring and tragic love stories is set to sweep across the Australian stage. The Australian Ballet has announced the highly anticipated return of John Cranko's acclaimed production of Romeo and Juliet, bringing a majestic, deeply moving vision of Shakespeare's classic play to life for audiences nationwide. This celebrated masterpiece beautifully captures the fierce, violent clashes of Verona's rival families, sharply contrasted against the luminous flare of innocent young love. Driven by the immense power and raw emotion of Sergei Prokofiev's iconic dramatic score, Cranko's masterful choreography pushes the company's dancers to their absolute technical and emotional limits, binding performers and audiences together in a truly profound shared experience. Visually, the production is an absolute triumph. Jürgen Rose's opulent, richly detailed set and costume designs vividly conjure the dangerous pageantry of medieval Verona. The staging highlights a brilliant contrast between the heavy, rigid splendour of the older aristocratic generation and the light, billowing fabrics worn by the carefree teenage lovers. Whether you're a lifelong ballet devotee returning to a beloved tradition or experiencing the magic of a narrative dance for the very first time, this legendary production offers an unforgettable journey. From the euphoric first flush of romance to its devastatingly heartbreaking finale, it is a must-see theatrical event that will stay with you long after the final curtain falls. See the website for all the details. Ray Mooney is an Australian novelist, screenwriter and playwright. He spoke with Dick Ross about his work.
Well, Ray Mooney, how you going?
I'm going really well, thank you. Very well.
Okay, so you've written a lot in various different genres, but
Yes.
one of the things that seems to draw it all together is crime and punishment. You've spent time in jail,
Yeah.
and you're very open about that.
Oh, not a problem.
How you are going to present these issues about retribution, revenge, reform, and the like in future writing. You spent 7 years in jail.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay, look, I spent 7.5 in Pentridge and then 9 months to a year in Long Bay. So all up probably a little bit over 8. An amazing place, really, because the Pentridge that I knew, and I went there in 1968, came out in 75.
Yeah.
It was probably, comparatively speaking, a good prison.
I get that. I get that.
Depending upon where you were in the prison.
I just want to get a handle about how you wrote about this stuff and how you used writing to both bring the issue out, but also it probably was a bit therapeutic.
I never saw it as therapeutic. I always saw it as an ends to a means. In A Division, we had a prisoners' theatre group, Players Anonymous, where you could put on plays twice a year, and invited audiences would be invited in, and they were sometimes the audience was 250 to 300 people. They were enormous audiences.
Wow.
Well, in my time, I always used to they were always putting on plays like Rusty Bugles and Star Lake 17 and Irma La Douce and all these lovely, good theatre entertainment pieces. But
anyway, so you've written a lot of plays.
a lot of plays, not all to do with prison, not all to do with crime and punishment either. But I've written musicals, I've written comedies. But
in the musicals, did you write the musical?
I never wrote the music of. I wrote a play called Sideshow Alley, where I brought in really good people to do music. I've worked with Joe Dolce and Nunya Watari on.
Oh, Joe Dolce.
We did a play called Punyalamara. That was a musical. I've done quite a few musicals in my time. Because I went, and this is a bit self-serving, but you wouldn't have known this, but it makes a little bit of sense. When I got out of prison in 75, I was in the first ever intake of the VCA drama students.
Is that right?
Yeah, I did the 3-year drama course. So that's what transferred me into theatre for a long time.
They did that one about the play about the Northern Territory.
Well, Poor Fellow My Country.
Yeah, were you in that?
Yeah, that was.
Is that right?
I was the first. The first ever intake was called Company 78, and Peter Royston had set it up.
Yeah, Peter Royston.
And we decided to do a big project that everyone was going to be involved in. So it was Xavier Herbert's book, Poor Fellow My Country, and we took it, and everyone there's 30 of us in the company, and each of us took a chapter, and we designed the chapter into a theatre production. And the end result, I don't know if you saw it or not, but
I did see it.
Oh, well, then I didn't act in it, but I was the sort of editor, bringing it all together. I was there as a director, theatre director, not an actor. So, so Poor Fellow My Country was the first thing we did. That was in 1977, by the way, so that was the first thing they ever did.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Same here, mate. Same to you too. All the best too.
All the best.